putting a different country's flag on my lawn to make it harder for GeoGuessr players to guess where they are. Lawn, United States. Honestly, this whole idea is completely flawed because anyone else on that long stretch of land could be one of those dudes who gets weirdly offended when they see a flag they don't recognize. So then they would place their own America flag moment on their lawn, thus giving away your entire bit. Hello everybody and welcome to Kalbus. My name is Lumo, Bit Destroyer, and today we are looking at r/Tumblr, a subreddit dedicated to posts that are coming from Twitter but not run by an insane man. Let's just get right into it.
Posting on a Blackboard discussion board and replying to two of your fellow students has become one of the 9 circles of hell.
Great point, Dylan. I especially agree with it being one of the 9 circles of hell. Well said. I had so many classes in college. They were like, go have a discussion on the board with your other classmates as part of this assignment, and it's like, my dude, if we're talking, we're just using Discord. Instead of the monkey's paw, you find the clown's nose, which instead of granting your wish in the worst way possible, will grant it in the funniest way.
Item, the cursed clown nose. Obviously, to use it, you have to put it on and give it a hug.
Wow, it really works.
Hank.
I won $1 million. I pull a $1 bill out of my pocket. I pull another $1 bill out of my pocket. This proceeds for the next 3 hours, and then you get arrested for causing hyperinflation. I still do not understand what possessed so many well-respected actors through the Spy Kids movie. Did they pay really well? Did you want these beautiful, terrible movies to blemish on your career forever? Why? Antonio Banderas did so many high-profile movies that in Spy Kids looked like this. They probably did it because it sounded fun. Actors are creative. They like doing things that are goofy and silly. Much like myself, I'm a whimsical. I'm like a gnome, but full-sized, which means that you should subscribe to this bizarre biological oddity. Like, comment, and subscribe to tell the algorithm that gnomes are pretty mushroom-pilled and lawn min-maxers. Share with friend. Let's keep going. My favorite video game trope is,
Help us, they are stealing our ancient artifact. Thank you for helping us. As a reward, you may have our ancient artifact.
the ancient artifact was less important than having agency in its distribution. Nothing is more important than keeping it out of the hands of the British Museum. That is the deepest cut, and I swear to God, the British Museum would be empty if they had to return everything that was stolen.
Still fancy that cup of soup now?
Yes, because I'm fully aware the liquids start to solidify when you reduce their temperature, you fricking buffoon. Look, all I'm saying is a lot of foods that look like slop are the most delicious ones. And I stammer because it's hard to convince myself of that sometimes. But genuinely, my bean dip looks like wet cat food, and you know what? It is probably the best thing I cook. And I cook some pretty photogenic meals. How to use. If you really don't know, then we suggest you find someone you really like and invite them into the shower with you to demonstrate. I didn't know body wash could be so sexy and condescending. Every time I see this post, I think it's a fire extinguisher and I get really confused. Something about that top comment is supposed to be like, you know, oh, be flirtatious, ask a friend. But I'm so internet poisoned that my mind is like, this is clearly the writer's thinly veiled mummy fetish. And you know what? I hate Fjord, Freudian slip context, man. But he might have had a point. And that's the terrifying part of body wash.
I dressed up as Funky Kong to see this with coworkers, and my manager was like, who the frick are you? Because it looked like a 90s weed dealer. So I told her, just wait and see. And then he never showed up in the movie. Turns out if you dress like Funky Kong IRL, you end up looking extremely divorced. It only works if you are obscenely jacked. You have to have them gorilla arms to really make this work. And at the same time, when I watched the Mario movie, I saw Chunky Kong and went, oh my god, he's not dead. Again, internet poisoned. Least favorite thing is villain's original fun personality evaporates entirely the moment they're redeemed, simply dismissed as a facade all along. Their so-called true self beneath the mask is actually really quite dull.
Oh man, you like this bad guy for their hammy vocal performance, sparkling confidence, and boisterous charm? That's great, because we killed them off screen and replaced them with a sullen doppelganger who solely exists to mope at the camera and feel terrible about things. If I said who this post was written about, they'd nail me to the cross like Jesus of Nazareth. I need to know who does that. Like, what character are they talking about? I need to know. My wife asked me to help decorate the cookies for her sister's baby shower, and then just as quickly asked me to stop helping.
Why are you all reblogging this without the important context that Alan Denton is the writer on Sonic Boom?
That's kind of on his wife then, not gonna lie. Look, one thing I know about game developers is we all take a lot of pride in the work that we do. And genuinely, this checks out. This checks out. 2018, why do we need all of these rules for banks and trades? 2023, oh, frick around and find out. I enforce the federal worker health and safety and pollution regulations. When I was learning my trade, one of my coworkers and I were having a chuckle over the well-duh level of specificity written into the Code of Federal Regulations. Try, no hazardous material shall be stored in crew berthing, odd for size. I will never forget the silence that followed when our instructor spoke these words. Your regulations are written in blood. These regulations are not written on a whim. They were written because someone thought they could cut costs by storing however many more pounds of radioactive, toxic, carcinogenic, or whatever else material in the same zooms, where human beings they paid to transport those materials slept, and then did that, because no one was telling them not to. They were written because people died. Horrifically. Because unregulated capitalism values profit over human life and suffering. That is such a metal phrase. Your regulations are written in blood. I always like the concept of be the reason why rules are written, and you find out a lot of things when you live like that. USB drives you find lying on the ground are modern-day cursed amulets. Just a decade ago, I was a student at a big state university, and I worked at a computer lab on campus, and people would leave flash drives there every freaking day. Like, we're talking dozens of flash drives a week. And what's really wild to me is that they generally would never come back and ask for their flash drive. Like, maybe 1 in 100 came to the desk and asked for their flash drive back. So we just have boxes and boxes of flash drives. Hundreds of them. And let me tell you, people would leave all sorts of crazy crap on those. It was my job to check. Mostly homework, of course, but like entire movie and music collections, games, personal photos, extremely personal photos, and like tax documents. You know how many times I found a flash drive with someone's complete tax return and academic record on it, with like their social security number and everything? It's a good thing I'm not into identity theft because working there was easy mode. Anyway, once a month I'd wipe all the drives with less than 256 megabytes in size, load them all up with furry content, and leave them around at parties like Easter eggs. The McDonald's cashier is right, you are a terrifying individual. Never speak to me again. Children outside screaming, annoying, but ultimately for the greater good. Children need going outside and screaming time for proper emotional development. An auditory burden I am willing to bear. Neighbor with his car made louder on purpose. Jail for neighbor. Jail for 10,000 years. When I used to work at the electronics store, there was an auto bay, and every time they would replace a stereo system, they would blare the worst music possible, and it would shake all of my warehouse racks. And I hated them so much. But children having fun? Based. This unused memory pick in Breath of the Wild is killing me. I have so many questions. Who took this pick? Why is Link doing a jujitsu pose? Why is Zelda like, oh crap, what you gonna do? Link is gonna do jujitsu. Hello, look out. Where would you even find this memory? It's unused because Link is repressing this memory. I love the fact that he's also wearing one of the grosser and more tattered versions of the traditional tunic. That's what's getting me the most here, is the fact that it's not even the good Breath of the Wild tunic, it's the crappy Link's Awakening one. Even though the concept of zombifying fungi becomes more and more popular, I notice it's referred to everywhere as a brain parasite. So I guess a lot of people overlooked or forgot how in 2019, it was discovered that cordyceps and other similar fungal parasites leaves the brain and nervous system completely untouched. They only control the muscles. They use chemical signals to make the muscles flex in real time to go where they want to go. It's funny how people are replying, but that's worse. Like you didn't know that's exactly why I put a smiley. Some people just delight in causing cognito hazards, and you know what? Based. And that's all the time we have here today on Kalbus. If you like this, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, maybe share this with a friend who could use you a reminder that the end is never, the end is never, the end is never, the end. Great rest of your day.